Hey everybody, this is Dream, and today we have a nice little 5-game NBA slate for you. Before I get started, can you guys smash that like and subscribe button? Okay, so let's get to the slate. Yesterday was kind of a crazy slate, but we managed to do pretty well. Today is going to be an even crazier slate, and considering the fact it's only 5 games, definitely says a lot about how it's crazy because we have a lot of questionable tags, and I mean, almost every team has some questionable tags when it comes to the big time players. And when we look at this slate, we have 2 games that have a 240 or more point total, and we have 2 under 229. So that's definitely going to play a factor in the slate, but the injury situations definitely cause some concern here. I do not have a core play on this slate, as it felt like the 2 games that have the higher total guys are a bit overpriced, and the guys that are in the slowdown games are underpriced today. So it's definitely going to be a kind of a bizarre slate from that perspective, and the injury situation is really going to play in on this slate. But with that said, let's get into this injury report. For the Lakers, Davis is questionable, Reddish and Vincent remain out. For the Hawks, Murray and Hunter are both questionable, so Hunter may be back, and if Murray misses, Trae Young would definitely get a boost. For Indiana, the Pacers, Halliburton is back, and he's questionable. Turner is questionable, Mathurian is questionable, and Smith is questionable. Obviously, all those potential questionable tags can definitely play into the slate. Looking at the Celtics, Porzingis is questionable, and Horford is out. For the Utah Jazz and the New York Knicks game, for the Knicks, Anobi is questionable, and Randall and Robinson are out. For the Raptors, Podol is questionable, and Barrett and Quickly are out. For the Bulls, Levine, Williams, and Craig are out. For the Philadelphia 76ers, Embiid and Maxey are both questionable. Melton and Covington are out. Obviously, that Embiid and Maxey both could definitely change up this slate quite a bit. For the Warriors, Paul, Moody, and Payton are out. So, like I said, lots of injuries today, lots of questionable tags throughout the slate. We got a lot of, especially at the top of the board here, where we don't know who's going to be playing. LeBron is probable. Davis is actually questionable, even though it doesn't show that on DraftKings right now. So, but if we look at this, 3 of the top 5 guys are questionable on the slate. So let's go and get into our top plays here. So we're going to start with uh, the most expensive first, and then kind of go through it from that perspective today because they're all kind of GPP plays the way they look on the slate. So we're going to start with LeBron. LeBron has some nice potential today, especially if Davis were to miss. But the last 3 games, he's been over 50 fantasy points. That is what he needs to do here. He's been playing really well the last few. He had a triple double against Golden State. This is also a favorable matchup against Atlanta. Now, I don't necessarily guarantee that he's going to have a huge game here, but he's definitely a GPP play because he's playing pretty at a pretty high level the last few games. He's scoring a lot of points, but he's really upped his assists and rebounds, trying to get wins. Obviously, the Lakers have been up and down throughout the season, but he's playing really well, and while he's doing that, he's definitely worth a look. But he definitely carries some risk here. Looking at Jalen Brunson for the Knicks, he also carries some potential upside in this matchup with so many players from the Knicks, and uh, especially starters out, and with a newbie questionable, he's going to have a boost in usage. The last few games with Randall out, he's had a nice boost as well, so his price has come up some as a result, but I expect him to be a viable option on the slate. Looking at Jason Tatum for the Celtics, he does get a boost with Porzingis potentially out. He's been absolutely playing phenomenal lately. Though his ceiling is high, his floor is lower than I'd like for his price. But he's definitely worth a look in this game, in this one, especially in a game where he has a higher total for highest total on the slate and has a lot of potential as a result. Scotty Barnes is also in play for Toronto. Scotty's going to have a boost today with Quickly and Barrett both out. He's been playing up and down lately, but with these guys out, he's going to have a usage boost. His prices come up again some as a result, but I think he's a viable, good option here against Chicago, who's not going to play a lot of defense against them. So I think that gives him a lot of potential here. Looking at DeMar DeRozan here, he's a little bit overpriced for what I like today, but he's got a favorable matchup, and he has been playing well with Levine out. I expect that to continue here. It's a good matchup with all the injuries to the Bulls, and he's playing close to 40 minutes a game most games, and that gives him a lot of upside. As long as they don't get blown out, he has a good opportunity to have a big game. Looking at Vucevic, he's in a similar state to DeRozan, as he's getting a usage bump with all the injuries to the team. That said, they do not, want them to getting blown out if for him and DeRozan, but uh, he's been playing pretty solid. His floor is a little bit lower than I'd like, but his price has also come down a little bit, so he's definitely worth a look. He was kind of close to being a core play today, but I just don't like his consistency being a little bit under his average. So looking at Kobe White, he's played very well with Levine out, and his usage has boosted. His price has also come up, but his price actually balanced out a little bit today, and they're favored to win this game by 6 points. So I do think Chicago is definitely a viable team to look at. However, he is a little bit risky as his floor is pretty low on the slate. Looking at D'Angelo Russell here for, let's see, for the Lakers, he's really been on a tear the last 5 or 6 games. His price is steady but climbing slightly. But while he's still under about $7,500, he's worth a look when he's playing well. He's playing a big amount of minutes, and with the different guys he's been playing more consistent than some of the other players, and so I do like his potential in this one. Has a good favorable matchup as well. So Bruce Brown has not had a lot of opportunity yet in Toronto, but the last couple games with injuries he has, and he's shown that he can score good fantasy outputs. He's done pretty good in Indiana, but he was inconsistent there. With that said, his minutes today should be pretty high with the injury situation there in Toronto, so he has a lot of potential here with both Barrett and Quickly out. He should draw the start. And then we're going to look at Dasmanu for the Bulls. Now, he's gotten a boost in the last few games with all the injuries here. He definitely has a low floor, but his ceiling has been higher than I expected. And so I do like his potential in this game, especially in a pace-up game where they're favored to win. Looking at the good plays based on injury situation, we have a few. Dante DiVincenzo, he was very interesting today. His floor is the problem, being so low, but he should get a lot of minutes. And he played well against Charlotte the other day. Granted, that is against Charlotte. This is a little bit tougher matchup, but I still think he's got a viable opportunity here, especially with the Knicks favored to win. I think he and a couple other guys for the Knicks have some potential. Another guy is Hart for them. He's also played well with these injuries, and with Randall out, he seems to be getting a bit boost in minutes and usage. And he's also getting more rebounds and assists. Sorry, for the last few games. His price didn't even pop up really from the last game, so I expect him to continue to be a solid option at this price point. Now, Grimes here for the Knicks is also in play today. He got more minutes. He definitely has that really low floor because he can really just not do anything, but he is very scoring dependent, so he's definitely in play today. He was very close to being a core play as well, along with Hart, but with his low floor, it's really hard to be super confident in him. Looking at Kaminga for the Warriors, he's been on an absolute tear lately. Draymond Green is back, but he's playing well, and so he's definitely worth a look, though I do expect at some point for him to have a low scoring game, and this is definitely a tough matchup if Embiid plays. And then we'll look at Draymond Green here for the Warriors as well. He's been absolutely phenomenal the last few games. His price has popped up a little bit more as a result, but he's still a viable option here. He has triple-double potential and double-double potential, obviously. This is a pretty good matchup if Embiid doesn't play, and so he's definitely worth a look. But you do want to make sure that Embiid is out. He currently is questionable at this point in time. As for the injury situation here, I'm going to say that I don't think Embiid will stay out today, but if it is possible that he does, so to keep that in mind. Looking at Halliburton, it's definitely more unlikely for him to play, but uh, he does look like he might be on a minutes limit as well, so that would be a concern if he does come back. But he definitely carries some risk there. Anthony Davis, obviously, being questionable too, but Maxey, he also missed when Embiid missed the other day, and I think he'll have some potential to be back today because it was just bruises, as far as I could tell. So we'll have to. Sorry, it's a left ankle sprain, as far as I can tell. So he might be back today, but he's definitely questionable on this one. Um, as for DeJounte Murray, the injury here is that he missed the last game with a right hamstring soreness, and I look for him to probably come back today, but assuming he gets into the uh, shoot around, but we'll have to wait and see, obviously, on that. So, as for Porzingis, he's missed a couple games, but I think he might be back today. He's definitely questionable and probably on the closer to being probable here, but if he was to miss, that would definitely give a little boost to Tatum. So with that said, guys, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. And have a nice day, guys.